Okay, so today we're going to take a look at the Adobe Fresco app. We are going to do a little walkthrough of it, and we're also going to take a look at how we're going to finish our self-portrait. Okay, so first what I'm going to do is I need to create a new document to work from. So at the top here you can see where it says start a new document. We could create a custom size, or we can choose one of the defaults. We're going to go with the letter 8.5 by 11. And very similar to the other programs, if I use my two fingers, I can pinch my artboard down so I can see the whole paper at the same time. And on the left-hand side, we have our toolbar, and on the right-hand side, we have our layers, very similar to the other apps. Now, where this gets a little bit different is on the left-hand side, we have a lot more tools than we normally have in the other apps that you're used to. Now, the apps that we use are either vector-based or pixel-based, whether it's Adobe Draw or Adobe Sketch. Now, Adobe Fresco offers all of those things in one app. We're just going to kind of focus on a few of the tools today and get further in to understanding how to use those tools. Please feel free to navigate through the app yourself and kind of take a look at what we have, what it has to offer, because it's an amazing app. Okay, so what we're going to do first, we have our layers here on the right hand side. I'm going to select the layer, and what I would like to do is I'm going to come over here to make sure I'm selected on that layer. Then I'm going to come over to the paint bucket. It looks like this, right? It's the little tool that is highlighted. So if I click on that paint bucket, we know that we're active in that tool because it's highlighted blue on the left-hand side. And I'm going to click on the black circle, and that's going to bring up my color. So I'm going to choose a color for the background. Everyone is going to select a color for their background. So I'm going to go with purple. Let's go with the dark purple. And I'm going to tap the paint bucket to the back of the screen. Now, this little thing pops up, says fill layer. Would you like to fill this layer as a pixel layer or a vector layer, right? So we're going to choose pixel. And now I have a background color selected. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to bring in our self-portrait that we created, that we saved to our camera rolls on our iPads. Now, over here on the left-hand side, there is a little icon that looks like mountains with a sun with a box around it right here. If I choose that, I'm going to select that I want to bring in a photo, and I'm going to find my self-portrait photo that I took on my camera roll. Okay, so you see when it pops in, it takes up my whole space. It takes up everything I have. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pinch in the corner where the circles are, and I'm going to drag my head down, or my box down a little bit. I want it to line up directly with the bottom of my paper. It can overlap a tiny bit. It'll just get cut off. And I'd like to save a decent amount of space around my head so that I can fill it in with my collage, which is the second part of our assignment here. So I'm going to select, and I'm going to hit done, which is up in the right hand corner. Okay, so now this looks kind of weird, right? What I need to do now is I'm going to cut out around my head. Now I'm going to use the lasso tool, which is directly above the paint bucket tool. So what I'm going to do now is choose the lasso tool, and I'm going to trace the outside very slowly of my head, making sure to try to follow the edge of the hair. And I'm going to match it up on the bottom so that I come back to where the circle was. And notice I get these dancing ants, right? And right now those dancing ants are selected around my head. What I want to do is I want to be able to delete all of the other things around the background, right? So I want to take the background away from that head. So right here at the bottom, we have transform, erase, mask, deselect, and more. We're going to select the more option, and I'm going to invert my selection. So I'm going to select the opposite of what was selected. So right now, the dancing ants are around my background and around the color. So it looks like it's going to delete all the background color. It's not going to. It's just going to delete what's on that specific layer. In order to delete that, I need to select my layer and I need to convert it to a pixel layer. And now I'm going to select erase. And it deleted everything in the background. And then I'm going to hit deselect. So in order to get out of that tool, I need to deselect that tool. All right, so now we have our head cut out on the background, and we're ready to start the next step, which